In today's video, we shall take a closer look at static equilibrium. Assume we have an object, and this object does not move up or down, left or right, or out of the plane or into the plane. In other words, it's stationary. We say the net force on this object is 0. What do we mean by net force? The net force is vector sum of all the forces acting on this object, and that is 0. Of course, in this case, we are just looking at the translational motion of this object. So when there is no translational motion of any kind, we conclude the net force on this object is 0. Now let's assume you have a system that can also rotate like that. The axis of rotation is about that support point and coming out of the plane. Let's assume this horizontal beam that is resting on the support is not moving as well. When we say motion or movement in this case, we are referring possibly to two types. One is the translational motion. The other one is a rotation. So let's assume we put a couple of weights on those 2 points, and the distances from the center of the support is x and y respectively. The mass of the left-hand side object is m1 and the right-hand side object is mass m2. If this system is to be perfectly still, then we know from our discussion a few minutes ago that since there is no translational motion involved, the net force, or the sum of all the forces acting on this system, has got to be 0. In other words, the net force acting on the system is 0. But we also have to consider a possible rotation. Let's assume in this case there is no rotation involved. The system is perfectly still. So we say the vector sum of all torques acting on the system is also 0. That means the net torque acting on the system is 0. This equation is called the first condition for static equilibrium. And the second equation involving the torques is called the second condition for static equilibrium. So for a system that could potentially have translational motion and rotational motion, both conditions need to be fulfilled in order for the system to be considered in static equilibrium. So let's analyze this system here a little bit further. Before you start writing down the conditions, it's important to sketch the free body diagram. So in this system, the system that we are referring to is the beam. How many forces are there? There is this weight acting on that beam, m1g, the other weight, m2g, and then there is an upward force, the normal force, from the support onto the beam. Let's call it N. So the first condition involving the force, when the system is in static equilibrium, we say N equals m1g plus m2g. That means the net force acting on the system is 0. Now let's look at the second condition of static equilibrium involving torque. Now we can evaluate torque about any point you want, because in this case there is no rotation involved. So let's evaluate the net torque acting about that axis where the support is holding the beam. There will be 2 torques. The first one is due to m1g. The second one is due to m2g. So the torque created by the weight m1g about that point is given by m1g x, where x is the distance between the axis of rotation and the force. What is the direction of this torque? Note the r is going to the left, the force is going downward. If you curl your right hand fingers from the vector r to the force, your thumb your right hand thumb is pointing out of the board. So you can take that direction to be positive. Now let's calculate the torque due to m2g. The vector r for that force is going to the right. The force is going downward. So as you curl your right hand fingers from that vector r for m2g to the force m2g, your right hand thumb is pointing into the board. So that is the direction with a magnitude m2g y, where y is the distance between the axis and the force. We have taken the direction coming out of the board to be positive, so going into the board must be negative. So the sum has got to be 0. And you see you get m1x equals to m2y. That's the conclusion. So you see we need both conditions in order to arrive sufficient number of equations in order to solve for the desired variables. As an example, let's look at the following problem. Figure below shows a box, that is the box, the mass of which is 400 kg hanging by a rope, that is the rope, with negligible mass from a boom. So the boom consists of this uniform hinged beam and a horizontal cable. The uniform beam, the one in green, has a mass of 80 kg. Find the tension in the cable. So that is the cable right there, and the force on the beam from the hinge over there. The system here is the beam. So what are the forces acting directly on that green beam? The first one is its own weight. The weight is 80 times gravity. And then you have this tension in the rope that is pulling it down like that. Let's call it T. And the tension in the cable that's pulling it that way. Let's call it TC. In addition to that, there are a couple of forces at the hinge. One is going like that, vertically upward. You can call it F vertical. And horizontally like that, you can call it FH. And that's it. The free body diagram of this 400 kg box would immediately tell you what that tension T is. So since the weight is 400 times gravity and it's not moving, the tension has got to be 400 times gravity as well. So immediately we can label the tension in that rope as 400 G newtons. Now let's proceed to determine the tension in the cable. Now we can use the second equilibrium condition to do this. The reason is because we have a freedom to choose the point about which that we want to evaluate the net torque acting on the beam. We can choose that point to evaluate the torque, because by choosing that point we can eliminate these two forces from our equation. They won't show up. The only force or the unknown that would show up is TC, and we can solve it immediately. So let's move on to the calculation for the second condition. There are three forces: the weight of the beam, the tension, and the tension in the cable. So we need to figure out the torques created by these three forces about that axis of rotation. Let's start with the weight of the beam. The weight or the force is 80 G. The perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation is that distance right there, which is half of that. So 2.5 over 2. What is the direction for this torque? The vector r in that equation, r cross f, for the torque for this force goes from the axis of rotation to where the force acts. So in that direction, the force is vertically downward. As you curl your right hand fingers from that vector r to the force, your thumb is going into the board. So this is a cross. Let's take the cross to be negative. Now let's do the second term, the tension in the rope. The force itself is 400 times gravity. The vector r in the expression for torque goes from the axis of rotation to where the force acts in that direction. So when you curl your right hand fingers from that vector r to that particular force, your thumb is again pointing into the board. Now the perpendicular distance between the 400 G tension and the axis of rotation is this entire 2.5 meter. So it's going to be negative as well because of the direction. Now the last force, which is the tension in the cable. The torque due to that tension about that axis of rotation is given by that force times the perpendicular distance to the axis of rotation, in this case 2 meters. The direction of the torque created by Tc, the vector r goes all the way vertically upward. The force is going leftward. So as you cross your fingers, your right hand fingers, from the vector r to the force, your thumb is pointing out of the board. So this is out of the board, and we can take that term to be positive because the direction into the board is negative. So the sum of this term, that term, and this term must give you 0. After all, that is the second condition for static equilibrium. So in this equation, the only unknown that you have is Tc, and you can solve for it. And when you solve for Tc, the tension in the cable, you get the following number: 5,396 newtons. Now let's do part B, that says finding the force on the beam from the hinge. Now there are a couple of components. One is the vertical component and the other one is the horizontal component, and we need to find both. The simplest is the horizontal component, Fh. That must be balanced by Tc according to first condition for static equilibrium, because along the horizontal direction the sum of all the forces must be 0. So Fh is going to the right, Tc going to the left, so Fh must be the same as Tc. Tc have been found, which is 5,396 newtons. Now let's determine the vertical component. Again, according to the first condition for static equilibrium, the sum of all the forces in a vertical direction must be equal to 0. So Fv is going upward, must be balanced by all the downward forces. In this case, you have 80 G and the tension, which is 400 G. So you get 480 G for Fv. Taking G to be 9.81, you see that Fv is 4,709 newtons. So in order to determine the overall force at the hinge, or the force on the beam from the hinge, we use the Pythagoras theorem, meaning the horizontal component squared plus the vertical component squared square root. So meaning you have 5,396 newtons squared plus 4,709 newtons squared square root. And that's going to give you 7,162 newtons for the overall force on the beam from the hinge. And that solves the problem. Thank you for watching.